Om. ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। परमानन्दमाधवम्। ॐ वाङ्मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधी वेदस्य माणिस्थः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेन अहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि हृदं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्माम अवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम्। ओम शांति शांति शांति। शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। श्रीकृष्ण गोविंद हरे मुरारे हे नाथ नारायण वासुदेव जिह्वे पिब स्वामृतमेतदेव गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। हे कृष्ण हे यादव हे सखेति। We will read the 16, 17 and 18 shloka. I'll read it together. नासतो विद्यते भावो ना भावो विद्यते सतः उभयोरपि दृष्टोऽन्तः त्वनयोस्तत्त्वदर्शिभिः अविनाशि तु तद्विद्धि येन सर्वमिदं ततं विनाशमव्ययस्यास्य न कश्चित् कर्तुमर्हति। अन्तवन्त इमे देहाः नित्यस्योक्ताः शरीरिणः अनाशिनो प्रमेयस्य तस्मात् युध्यस्व भारत. So we were at this shloka last time. These three is a pair of shlokas going on where Bhagwan is talking about the self, the Atma, being of the nature of Sat. He started from the 16th shloka like that. That Atma is Sat. Rest everything else what you see, which includes our body also, becomes Asat. Then he comes to that point that, those people who see the difference between these two while living in this world, they are the people who I call them Tattva Darshihi. They are the people who have seen the real essence of this world. real essence of this creation. Everybody sees this creation the way it has this, we have understood it till now, that there is an earth, there is people living on it, there are plants, there are animals. That's only the seen part of the creation. But there is an essence which is actually behind this creation. Bhagwan is taking Arjun through that essence first. Then he said, in the 16th one, Bhagwan is saying that which is present in the three periods of time, past, present and future. And I used one word which has got no prag abhav. Prag abhav, there was never a period of time which was not there. And presently, though it is already there, there will never be a period of time when it will not be there in the future also, which is called pradvans abhav. Prag abhav is of the past. Present, though we already see it in action right now. Pradvans abhav is once it gets destroyed. There is no destruction point for that self. That is why it qualifies to become a sat. Then in the 17th shloka I was explaining to you all, he takes it to the next level. Of course, it can be present in the three periods of time, which I told you in the last class. Science also accepts this definition of real being, that which is available or non-destructible in three periods of time. But where science definition lacks is, it's not about the three periods of time. 3 periods of time is one measurement of the real, sat, what we call it, that which is indestructible. But what about where it is available? You have to talk at the level of matter and space also. You cannot just say that which is available in 3 periods of time is the only one which qualifies for sat. That's where science definition, explains the indestructible portion. But here Bhagwan takes it to the next level. He says it's not that which is non-destructible in 3 periods of time. It is that which is pervaded in the entire thing. All the periods of time, all objects, every matter and entire space is pervaded by this thing. There is one portion which I'll tell you from here. You have to split, one thing, this entire creation into 2 parts. One which pervades through everything, and that which is pervaded by that thing. So we call it Vyapya, means that which is pervaded by, and Vyapta means that which pervades everything. So we have to split this into every 2 parts, as in the whole process.
Both are Vyapta.
Vyapya and Vyapya. That which is pervaded, which is pervaded in, that which is pervaded by, and Vyapta, that which pervades into everything. That which is pervasive becomes Vyapt, that which in it pervades through, that becomes Vyapya. So these are the 2 ways to explain this thing. Now when we talk about us all, when I use the word, every matter in this creation, I'm using every matter, every space in this creation, and every point of time in this creation is pervaded by that self. So, there is one common parlance word which we use, soul. Now, you need to remember, it's coming from other religions. They talk about the birth of soul. Actually, here Bhagwan says, no, it's not like that. Your soul and my soul is not a different thing at all. Where is the difference between creation and creation? Within the creation, where is the difference? Difference is at the level of mind and intellect and body. Mind and intellect exits the body and takes another body. So the size and shapes and time differs here. Now let me just tell you one more thing. I do not know from where English has coined this term. The first unit of time is called second. The first unit of time is called second. I do not know for how many people it has struck the mind. Who is first? Why the first unit of time is second? Who is first? Have you ever thought about it? Second, minute, hour use karte ho to bahut time ho gaya hum logo. We have been using this term. But Gurudev used to say this very beautifully. It's because first is you. Everything starts from you. You means the soul. First is that. That's why the first unit of time is also second. It can never be first.
Okay, like that. Second means two.
Second. First is somebody else, no? I do not know who coined this word. But Gurudev picked it up from there. He said, just see. That is why, because first is you. It starts from you. Because you are the first unit, that's why the time's first unit is also second. Because first is you. It can only be second. The time starts where? From you. Acha, there is a lot of confusion which can come here. Even if I am here or not, the time still continues. Don't think that way. Don't go into that level. You will understand this as we go on. Actually, you should see your reference point first. For you, every relationship starts with you. Because what you are first. You are not relative of yourself. Everything is in comparison to you. Who is the first? First is you. That's why it is relative. Relative se to relation aaya na word. It's related to you. It's relative to you. If I take you out of the picture, for you, that relation is gone. That's why when you leave from this body and go to another one, we go into a different body and a new relationship starts over there. Completely different one. Why? Because you need to remember this self pervades through all. It has got no difference at all. It pervades through all periods of time. It pervades through every object, every matter in this creation. It pervades through every space in this creation. So technically, this mind and intellect within that self leaves the body, within that self acquires a different body and comes in. Now, I am going to take an example of technology that way. आप लोग ना, this is a word which you must have heard. In technological world, let me just take the word of mobile first. Let me take the word of mobile first. There are two things in a mobile: hardware and software. It's very easy to understand, right? I can take example from current world only. Hardware and software. Now, take it back to the BMI chart. Body is just the hardware. What is the software inside it? And intellect. But there is where the problem starts. Mind and intellect is the software of this hardware called body. Right? Now you see, if you own a phone, you see constantly, months after months, there is something which comes which says software upgrade. It's very easy to understand. Aaj ki duniya samjhao na. Because if I relate it to the current world, you will be able to understand it very easily. Now, tell me something. What is the software upgrade for this? It's been there for such a long period of time. And when you see the software upgrade, some software upgrades, it will enhance the feature of the hardware or it will explore new features. And there is something else written there, which is a very interesting word I pick up. Bug fixes. Have you heard that word? Every software will have UI enhancement, which is the user interface enhancement, and there will be something called bug fixes. So the thing which comes, that which has been already created, why a bug came in? Why you have to do bug fixes? You have already manufactured a phone. Ab iPhone aa gaya. iPhone ka I think naya version is 16.4 or something. They are working on a worldwide developer conference and they are planning to launch version 17 now. Every year you are keep on making enhancement in the software. Why? Because the time is changing. And with changing times, new bugs come up and you have to make sure that your phone fixes those bugs. In the same way, come to this now. Mind and intellect has been traveling from hardware to hardware for so many lives, if on so on. But where is the software update for this? The software update for this is this. Spirituality. Spirituality is nothing but software upgrade for your mind and intellect. Why? Why do you need that software upgrade? Because in its real form, it only understands this B, the hardware, and it only identifies with the hardware. But you don't understand, this hardware keeps changing. You'll have to drop it here. This software is going to travel from you to different lives. That's the difference between a mobile and a technological world and this world. This software upgrade is required. Why? So that this can leave the identification with that hardware and start looking up to that which is the source of that. Mind and intellect, the actual source and cause of mind and intellect is the self, the Atma, which we call it, whichever way. That's what Bhagavan is telling here. Arjun, please remember this well. Avinashi tu tad vidhi. Know that to be indestructible. Why? Because yena sarvam idam tatam. Because it pervades through every part of this whole creation. In time also, all periods of time, every matter also, and every space also. Each and every space is pervaded by this. Now, when you see, you have a prayer room. Now, this is where I'm going to take you from that concept which we have. That prayer room is important for us till when? Till the time we understand the pervasiveness of that God. Till the time you understand that pervasiveness of God, you definitely need temples, you definitely need prayers, you definitely need to visit, holy places and all, because you have to first connect to Him. Forget about understanding His pervasiveness first. First connect to Him. How do you connect to Him? You cannot connect to Him in this open world. He is pervading everything here. But now try and see Him through that. You can't. नहीं समझ सकते. Why? Because our intellect and mind, our software works in such a way we can only understand and grasp grosser objects. And please remember, this self which pervades through everything is the subtlest of all. The gross mind intellect, the more we attach it to the body, the more grosser the mind and intellect becomes. So he need to search and look for God through the gross things. Because he need to look for God through the gross things, that's why our rishis and munis have created something called idol. Why do they create idol? Now, if the God, let me just step back and ask you a question. As per the scripture, God pervades everything. Yes, that is the same thing which Bhagavan is talking about here. So, will that God not be pervading the stone idol which is there in the temple? Why not? What is the problem in understanding that? But then why do we see that, the force of Bhagavan much more over there in the idol? Because there are daily pujas going on there. There is daily worship. There are daily mantras. So that stone acquires the power of God more than what we can see around. For us, for our intellect training, they have created temples, they have created this, yaga, yajna and all those things. For our intellect, it is a software upgrade for us. Because technically speaking, we are all made in such a form that we can only grasp grosser objects. Because our body is gross and we function through this. Now the point is, I told you in the last session, there is so many things for the body. There is pranayam, there is yoga, there is gym. But what about mind and intellect? What is there for it? Now remember, body is only one smallest portion of our whole thing, whole being. Mind and intellect is supposed to rule that. Mind and intellect is supposed to manage that. For that mind and intellect, which is supposed to manage through the body and take us through this life, we have got nothing. And technically, okay, I'll use one word, but take it in its own form. Don't take it differently also. Our school education, our college education is taking us far from this and making us more associated with this. Let me take medical science. Medical science has got things to take care of body. It may have something for brain, it may have something for heart, but they are all physical components. What is there for mind and intellect? Everything, all our education system is loading our mind and intellect to become more grosser and grosser. So technically they are taking us far from this. Okay, let me just give you a small example, you will understand. Have you seen a small kid who's newly born? Okay, he has got no object. He doesn't know mobile, watch, car, bangla, nothing at all. But you see, when he or she is alone in the cradle, there are times when they are enjoying. Smiling. With what? Smiling. With what? Have you ever thought of it? So technically, So I'll use this word in its own form. Technically, we were all born happy. Then what happened? Then we grew up. And that's the answer. Then we grew up. Now I'll give you one small example. Sometimes the more we understand, it becomes more problematic for us. I'll give you one small example. Once I went to Singapore, and when I went to Singapore, I was traveling in the local train over there. There was some Japanese group which was sitting there. So, the group wanted me to move somewhere else and they wanted to sit there. I didn't understand their language. They could not speak English and I could not understand Japanese. So, what happened? I did not understand, so I didn't react only. They said some, wrong words or something, but I was very happy thinking that they're all praising me. Maybe, I do not know. Without understanding, I told them, thank you very much. And, I went on. So when I went and deboarded the train, somebody told me, you said thank you to them. Do you even know what they were saying? I said, what they were saying? They were actually, saying what kind of an idiot this person is. He doesn't understand what we are trying to say. I don't understand the language. Since I did not understand the language, the abuse didn't hit me. Right? And I was free to decide it as a praise only, and I walked away happy. The same thing happens with us. The more we grow, the more we start understanding, the more problem starts coming into our life. Because now everybody's reaction we start understanding. Usne aisa kyun kaha? Why did he say that? I did so many good things to so and all. The more we understand this grosser world, the more problem is created around us. So what happens, for Jnani, Bhagavan will say in this text itself, Jnani becomes like child. So innocent. He doesn't, even if he understands also, he just erases that understanding from his mind. Somebody says, abuses him, praises him, nothing affects that Jnani at all. Why? Because he starts to reside, he starts to place himself in the higher reality. At that higher standpoint, these things seem petty, small. And I gave one example in the last class also. When you're on the ground sitting in an aircraft, even the airport seems so big. But when the aircraft flies, all those things which were seeming so huge for you all, they become this small. That's what happens. Jnani takes a flight into that. When he or she takes a flight into that reality, all these things become small and petty. They don't make any difference to him at all. That's the flight which a Jnani usually takes in Samadhi. Bhagavan says, Arjun, know this thing well. Avinashi tu tad. What I have been explaining you as a sat in the last shloka, सत का अभाव नहीं होता ना असतो विद्यते भाव ना अभावः विद्यते सतः. That sat is avinashi. It cannot be destroyed by anyone. And why it cannot be destroyed? Because it is pervaded in all the three things: matter, entire space, entire time. And one more thing you need to understand: it becomes the cause of all, because it is the cause of all. And what kind of a cause it is of all? Which itself is causeless. See, that Sat is the cause of everything, but it itself is causeless. Why? Because I explained certain things about cause and effect relationship in one of the classes, couple of classes before I explained. See, what happens with cause and effect relationship? If this self becomes an effect, the problem is, when the cause ceases to exist, this effect will also cease to exist. Right? And the effect is nothing but the cause itself in a different form. So the cause and effect relationship, the problem is, if there is some other cause of the self, once that cause ceases, the self will cease. It will not qualify for this definition of pervasion in three periods of time, object and space. So Bhagavan says, Arjun, in the next portion he says, Vinasham avyayasya asya na kaschit kartum arhati. Now, when I say it pervades through every object means what? It is partless. Now I'll tell you one example. When I say about body has got different parts. If somebody loses hand, A part is gone. They say what? He's become handicapped. Why? Because a part of his body is gone. And if there are parts, there is a very high possibility that the parts may have decay, the parts may have their own problem as we move along. That's why this self is free from all parts. That is why it is called formless. When you have a form, you cannot have a form without parts. Think of a form without parts, you cannot even conceive one. Because it is formless, it has got no parts, so how will somebody cause a destruction? For destroying someone, you have to destroy some part, no? Body कैसे destroy होती है? किसी का heart चला गया, किसी का brain चला गया, कुछ accident हो गया, some part has to go for this to destroy, no? Since it is partless, nobody can cause. He uses one word, na kaschit kartum arhati. Nobody at any point in time can cause any kind of destruction to the self. It pervades everything. Remember, I'll use one word here. You see your own pralay every day. When you are awake, it is there. When you go to sleep, it is there. When you wake up the next day, it is there. Because it is there, your continuity is maintained. Just imagine, we all go to sleep next day, and from next day we have to start with a new identity. I do not know who I am. Nobody will dare to go to sleep also. So you see, there is a continuity maintained in sleep. That's why we can so peacefully go to sleep. Agar agle din aakar we have to start everything from scratch. Who will go to sleep then? If everybody has to start from the scratch, we will be fearing our own sleep at that point in time. So this Sat, which we call about, is even when the Nitya Pralay, which is our daily sleep and waking pattern, and even in the Atyantik Pralay, this self always remain the same. It is partless, formless, it cannot decay at all. Nobody can cause any kind of destruction to this. That's what Bhagavan is talking about in 17th shloka. Now I'll come to the 18th one. Then Bhagavan takes the next step. He has to now tie this to our own body. He says, Antavanta ime dehaha. Arjun, understand this body which you see here is Antavanta. It is bound to get destroyed. Nobody in this creation, including Devatas, have become like immortal forever. It's not possible. So Bhagavan uses one word, ime deha. When he uses the word ime deha, he uses for everybody. And there is a point I wanted to say here. In Bhakti Shastra, and especially I'll use one example of Bombay. Bombay, where this Ganesh Utsav is celebrated in a very big manner. You all know that. They have something called, they do a Sthapana first, and at the end they do Visarjan. Right? Sthapana and Visarjan. You know why our Rishi Muni have kept that thing? To show that whatever has come into existence, I'm using the word come into existence, in a gross form, will get destroyed one day. Let's start with our Devatas Vigraha only. That is why they have kept that thing, Sthapana Visarjan. Sthapana Visarjan. Let me just take you back to an example. There is a temple in Orissa called Jagannath Temple. Jagannath Puri. Okay, Jagannath Puri, the idol is made of wood. After X number of years, which they see, they go and do Visarjan Kriya of that idol. They do proper Daha Sanskar of the idol. You see, this is how, that's the beauty of Sanatan Dharma as a culture. They are teaching this thing from everything. Everything they are teaching you. And Yag, Yagya and all is an example like a wood burns into ashes in a Yagya. At the end of life, our body will also become ashes one day. You may love it however much, doesn't matter at all. It will end one day. Bhagavan uses the word Antavanta ime deha. Since this body is bound to get destroyed one day, What is the point he's trying to drive? This life is not supposed to be wasted on that body in throughout. There is something else which you need to learn and grow on. Because whatever you do, you cannot stop its destruction. Nobody has become immortal. The one immortality they talk about is when the Samudra Manthan happened, the churning of the ocean, they call it, the popular. There is, Dhanvantari Bhagwan who came with Amrita Kalasha. And they say the Rakshasas, they fought for it, but Devatas got it. But that Amrita Kalasha is the temporary Amrit Kalasha. Till the time the creation is there, they can remain immortal. But once the creation go into pralaya, everything becomes ground zero. You have to start from where you are. That's a good point. I like that point. I like that point. Immortality, many have tried to achieve. Many. Ravan did it. Ravan tried it. Then, Hiranyakashipu tried it. There are so many examples I can give you from Purana when they talk about that they try to gain immortality. But remember, this body can never become immortal, and the self is always immortal, by the way. Now you find the difference where you want to place yourself. There is a kind of immortality to the mind and intellect because it traverses from lives to lives, and you have to keep gaining and upgrading your software. This class is nothing but one version of the software upgrade. Simple as that. This exactly is doing that. Why? So that you can manage your hardware well. Upgrade is for your software well, so that you can manage your hardware well. That hardware is continuously decaying. But remember, the more and more you upgrade this, the more and more easily you can manage that. Why I am using the word easily? Managing body through the life itself is not easy, by the way. It's not an easy game. I may say whatever from here in this stage and walk out, but it remains where it is because it needs constant practice. That constant practice is what is taught by scriptures. Why, when Bhagwan said all these things, why he needed further 16 chapters? Why? He said all this, what he wanted to say. If somebody has understood till here, in the next 2-3 shlokas, he has understood whole Gita. But that doesn't mean stop coming for the class. That's not what I mean. But who will gauge what you have understood? It should start coming live in your life. How? That you are able to manage yourself from situation to situation without much impact. Remember, there are two parts to the whole thing. Prarabdha. Prarabdha is your situation. Somebody may be however capable, however well-versed, doesn't matter. But nobody can stop the situation from coming in your life. Nobody can do it. Whether people may have considered themselves the strongest in the whole world, including Hitler. I'm using the word purposively. What happened? What happened? Created way for your own destruction. Prarabdha keeps coming to you, however capable, however best you may be. Why you need a software upgrade of this? So that situation doesn't knock you down every time. You are able to move through situation, not get knocked down and lie flat for many days, many months. Don't talk to me, I'm going through a situation. What happens? Situation starts ruling us rather than we moving through the situations. Even a sannyasi, so that matter of fact, he may have known the self, he may have realized the self, but whatever prarabdha it has started, it's not going to go anywhere. It is going to come. I'll give you one very small example.
You can change little bit with your karma.
No, वो तो फ्यूचर का ना, वो तो आपके पास आपके कर्म करने का चॉइस है. देखो, you don't have a choice in the prarabdha. You have already done that. It is going to come to you. But what is the choice you have?
How you face it.
How you react to it.
You face it.
Okay. Your reaction is your choice. How will you change your reaction? without this upgrade, reaction change is not possible. That is where this upgrade is required. Because even after you change, I'll give you one example. Pujya Maharaj Shri Swami Akhandanandji said this in one of his talks there. He said, I went to a Mahatma. He went to a Mahatma. He was sitting there. There was one lady who came to that Mahatma. And Swamiji is watching this whole situation. Says he came to that lady came to that Mahatma. So then the moment Swamiji looked at her, Swamiji said, very sad, such a thing has happened. What has happened before that I'll tell you. She was coming back from somewhere. They met with a very serious accident. She broke 4 bones in her body, and only her small child, which was in her lap, that and her survived. Husband expired, mother, father expired. So he said, aren't you angry with God? Swamiji asked purposely, aren't you angry with God? So she very calmly asked, why, Swamiji? He said, you did so many satsangs, you do so much puja prarthana, but God didn't save you from this situation. So that answer, what she gave, Swamiji said, I stood up and did namaskar to her. She said, Swamiji, who said satsang is to change my situation? Who said puja and prarthana is to change my situation? Nothing can change my situation. But yes, through that situation, satsang helped me to move on without getting impacted. That is the upgrade I'm talking about. It's not going to change prarabdha. Prarabdha has already begun. But how to move yourself through the prarabdha, that is what this is teaching you. You have the ability to be, completely on top of any situation. There is a word which we use in common parlance. Are you on top of the situation, or the situation is on top of you?
Mostly situation on top of us.
Mostly. We are struggling. We are doing, what is the word we use in corporate world, firefighting. Some people have come to me, what to talk about, Anishji? I am doing firefighting every day. Go to office also I am firefighting. At home also I am firefighting. I do not know when. I have become like a professional fire engine. I have become expert in firefighting. That's not what life is about. Because if you don't upgrade yourself through this, you will end up becoming a victim to the situation. You will not own the situation. That's the difference. There are people who they say that how you are so cool in any situation. That coolness comes from this. I purposefully use that word today. अभी 16.4 आया तो मुझे याद आ गया अचानक. मैंने कहा वो इसी क्लास में यूज करने के लिए बेटर है. Because वो upgrade, we see people wait for it. There are so many videos circulating around on YouTube that this upgrade is going to bring this, and there are so many views also for that. I saw that. But the real upgrade, nobody is talking about. Now the world is coming to something called AI, artificial intelligence. Oh, I dread that word. If intelligence is also going to become artificial, what will remain real in this world now? If intelligence is also going to become artificial, then I do not know what is going to become real. Real intelligence will go. See, all these tools are for your own benefit. Don't become slave to them. I'll tell you one thing. Chinmay Mission की beauty भी है इस बारे में. Chinmay Mission has come up with a session that in this world of artificial intelligence, how to keep your intelligence and use the AI and not getting used by the AI. There's a course on that. By the way, they have come up with this. Because if the technology is moving so fast, if we do not work on this upgrade, trust me, human intellect and mind will become redundant after a point in time.
Creating a Frankenstein.
Because the one side of technology is, technology will become very destructive. If the people who are supposed to manage it are not trained how to use it. I'll tell you one very gross example here. You know, if you travel in flight or train, na, there's one very wrong scene which you see these days. छोटे बच्चे जब रो रहे होते हैं ना, तो माँ बाप उनको मोबाइल पकड़ ये पकड़ के बैठ जाओ. You know, spend time on this. Don't eat my head. You don't understand. That child is going away from you. Gurudev says, thought by thought, action by action, we are creating something called our nature. What is the word he used? Thought by thought, action by action. We don't understand. Every thought we entertain, every action we end up doing is creating something called this vasana. It's creating something called impression. I used one word some time back. It starts with desire, liking. Liking becomes desire. Desire becomes habit. Habit becomes characteristic. Character becomes nature. Nature becomes vasana. And that will prompt you into the next life. Now let me say one more thing here. In situation, let me just take the example of situation here. Every situation, if one same situation is given to two people, their reaction will be different. Do you know why?
And sanskar is different.
Good. Why?
What is the question? फिर से बोलिए.
If one single situation is given to two people, both of them will react differently.
Each one's nature is
Because of their
Very good. Hold that point. Everyone behaves to a situation according to their nature.
nature, their mind and intellect.
So their nature, so will be their reaction to a particular situation. See, I'm just giving you an example. You hear this word very commonly these days, not a good word to hear though, road rage. It's a very, very common gross word which is rampantly become, we are hearing it every now and then. It's a simple thing. Why do somebody react as rage? Why? Their nature has become like that. Now I'll give you one example. I'll just take you back where the nature, comes up. I was traveling to Delhi, and this time I was traveling in Shatabdi. So I was sitting, and the thing is, when we travel, the whole train becomes such a good observation pedestal for us that it's so beautiful to see the different parts of the world then and there itself. So I was sitting there. So there was in the front row, there was, some people sitting there. There was one kid there. So to make that kid, remain quiet, they handed him something called a gun. अब पता क्या है, हमारी प्रॉब्लम ये होती है, we can react to everything, but we resist from doing that because everybody is not able to take the reaction. मैं चुप रहा थोड़ी देर. तो that kid was playing all the entire 3 hours with that gun. So when I was getting down, I could not stop myself. So I asked the parent. I said, "What do you want this kid to become?" I'm asking you generally and personally. देखो एक चीज़ अपने लाइफ में हमेशा ध्यान रखना, which I keep telling it outside also, which we keep forgetting. Praise is always public, feedback is always personal. Okay? The thing which we do is, feedback is public, praise becomes personal. Such a wrong concept in life. आपके फीडबैक की वजह से 2-4 लोग और गलत समझ गए उसको, जबकि उनसे उसका कोई मतलब ही नहीं था. और खासकर ये कहाँ दिखाई देता है? पॉलिटिकल वर्ल्ड में सारा दिन फीडबैक देते थे. आई डोंट नो हाउ दे फंक्शन एट द एंड. तो आई एम श्योर देयर ब्रेन मस्ट बी कोलैप्सिंग एट द एंड ऑफ द डे फॉर स्लीप एंड ऑल. आई डोंट नो हाउ दे फंक्शन. रिमेंबर, दिस इज अ वेरी स्मॉल थिंग. Praise should always be public and feedback should always be personal. Why? Why? You are giving feedback for the personal improvement of that person. Right? You are not giving feedback for everyone else to misunderstand that person. But that is what it is seeming today, these days. So I called him separately. मेरे नेक्स्ट सीट में बुलाया पेरेंट को. मैंने पूछा, देखो मेरा एक बड़ा जनरल क्वेश्चन है, बट डोंट माइंड माई क्वेश्चन. मैंने कहा कि व्हाट डू यू वांट दिस किड टू बिकम? इट वाज वेरी पर्सनल कॉन्वर्सेशन. So he said, of course, I want this kid to become very successful in life. So, but if you want that kid to become successful in life, what are you training him from the childhood? Today he may be carrying a toy gun, right? Tomorrow the same thing will become a real gun. Because you are creating his thought now. You have the luxury to cultivate good thoughts in that child. But you are not using it. You think that child which is playing with a gun now is going to do good later once he grow up. Forget it. It's never going to happen. And the second thing which happens these days is this game culture which has come. Oh my God. I keep, we have to keep abreast with the current situation of what's happening around in the world. So I keep going into these platforms to see what the hell is changing in this world. But really, when I see it, I see it's really hell which is changing in this world. They have these games to, shoot down someone, make someone, hit someone. What are you trying to teach that kid?
That's why there's road rage.
That's where I began from, road rage. If you train that kid like that to hit someone, maybe a toy, you may think that the toy is insignificant, but you don't understand that thought which that kid is creating is going to become significant later on. Because his mind and intellect are getting degraded. Forget about upgrade, it's degraded. What kind of a creation we are doing? What kind of a world we are creating for ourselves? If we can't own, our own kids, we can't manage them to, just cultivate good culture, then how do you think you are going to create a good world later on? You may have millions of people as a member in UN, doesn't matter. You cannot ensure world peace till the time everybody owns up to create peace within. If all of us are peaceful, this world will automatically become a peaceful place. I'm giving you one small example. I feel sometimes God's role is so difficult, I tell you. I was standing in a temple queue somewhere. So there was somebody standing behind me. There was a lot of queue there in Kerala. I was standing in a temple queue. Somebody was standing behind me. So there was a mother who is praying to Bhagwan. Bhagwan, my kid is doing law. I'm giving you as an example. He's doing law. I really pray there may be a lot of conflicts in this world so that he is loaded with cases one after another. Now, right behind that person, in front of me, somebody is saying, I'm already stuck in so many cases, Bhagwan. Give me, I pray to you that I may have no cases in my life. Now, how will God give you those things which both require? One requires that the world should be free of cases. Another one requires the world should be full of cases. The same goes for medicine profession also. People pray that, may I remain healthy. Doctors say that, may there be a lot of patients. Not every doctor says, but I'm saying, see, God, all the professions are so conflicting with each other. God's role becomes so difficult. Sometimes we need to know how God functions sitting in that Garbhagriha. He is listening to so many people, and how many people he is able to say Tathastu and go ahead, I'll give you everything. This world itself is a dvandva. It's a conflicting world. Some people want business, some people want I should not need these things. All things are, intermingled with each other. This is how the world is. But the thing is, how you upgrade this will make you move through the situation. When I go to temple, I don't pray to God, give me this or give me that. Don't give me this. That will come as prarabdha, because I can't stop prarabdha. I can't, put God to a corner that, stop my prarabdha. He's not going to do that. That's not going to happen in life. But what he will do is that your future prarabdhas, which are there, if you make an effort and promise to Bhagwan that I will spend time and know you in this life, he can promise you that from the next life I can free you from prarabdhas, I can free you from vasanas, I can free you from everything. That much God can do. But what has already, prarabdha means prakarshena arabdha. That has already started to give fruit in this life. That can't be stopped. It has to come through. Whatever you are, wherever you reach, it will come through you. But if you work on these things continually, you can upgrade this and manage yourself through situation. You can be a master of situation, or you can remain a slave of situation. That choice is. हाँ, सत्कर्म करोगे तो अभी जो सत्कर्म करोगे उसके फल, कई लोग पता है क्या पूछ लेते हैं गलती से, भगवान मैंने तो इस जन्म में कुछ ऐसा किया ही नहीं है, मुझे क्यों मिला? अरे इस जन्म का तो मिलना शुरू ही नहीं हुआ, वो तो अगले जन्म में मिलेगा। इस जन्म में तो कहीं और से आ रहा है। हु विल टेल यू दैट? वो तो यही बताएगा शास्त्र आपको कि वो तो कहीं और से आ रहा है। मेनी पीपल हैव सीन फाइटिंग विद गॉड, मैंने तो आई हैव डन नथिंग रॉन्ग इन दिस लाइफ, व्हाई एम आई गेटिंग ऑल दीज थिंग्स? अरे भाई, it is not from this life. Prarabdha means that has already started giving fruit to you from your birth. That you have to bear, it is from previous life. But yes, you have the freedom of action. You can, amidst that prarabdha also, you can do good thing to create future good karma phalas. That you can do. That choice is yours. Or you can struggle with it and nothing happens, I will continue to do and remain like that. Then you continue to bear like that. That's the thing. So Bhagavan says, you remember, antavanta ime dehaha, this body is bound to get destroyed, Arjun. Nityasya uktaha sharirina. But Sharina means that one who is sitting in this body, transacting through this body, is Nityaha. He is talking about Jiva here, Bhagavan here. Nitya here actually is talking about Atma, the self here. But I am explaining you Jiva because for you to understand it well. So Bhagavan says, but the Sharirinaha, the Shariri who is sitting in this body, he is Nitya. He is already immortal. He says, Anashina, he uses 3 words here. Arjun, that self is Anashinaha Aprameyasya. And he said, because it's Anashinaha Aprameyasya, he uses 2 words here. Tasmat Yudhyasva Bharata. Arjun, that self is Anashina, means nobody can cause any kind of destruction to that self. And it is Aprameyasya. Aprameyasya means you cannot know it with your mind and intellect. Class is over. If you cannot know it, then why are we sitting here? You remember, this class is not to know him. See, okay, why do you know something? Let me just ask you that way. You know something so that you can go and get it. Right? You can get it. But for the self, self is not something which you need to get it from outside. You already have it. So why do you feel you don't have it now? Because you don't know it. Because of your ignorance, that self which is available to you is currently hidden from you. The purpose of spiritual knowledge is not to make you gain the self. The self is already gained. We all have the self with us. We all have it 100%. Yes?
The self is the collection of your BMI.
No. The self is Atma, which I call it here. This BMI is Antakarana. I will explain you one more way. There are a couple of words which you hear. Okay. For now, for the class, remember, I'll use 3 words here. Atma, which is, or consciousness, Paramatma, which is Om. Then I talk about Jivatma. You heard this word Jivatma? What is Jivatma? Which is popularly what you use the word, my soul. My soul, you call it Jivatma. Okay? And then comes this body, mind, Antakarna, and then all these things. Now, till the time we understand the true nature of self, we have to understand as consciousness and Atma and Jivatma as 2 separate entities. But actually, Atma and Jivatma are not 2 things. They are one and the same thing. Why we have to consider Atma separately from Jivatma? Because we are ignorant about the self right now. That's why Bhagavan used the word Aprameyasya. It cannot be known by anything. Why? What are we doing in teaching you from scriptures? We are making you identify what you have mistakenly understood you to be. Once you separate those things, what is left is the self alone. Self is effulgent in that form. Don't worry, it's a little deep concept. It will come because right now when you try to translate into the real world, it becomes very difficult to comprehend. Bhagavan is saying here already, Arjun, it is very difficult to comprehend. I understand that you have to slowly, gradually work towards your upgradation so that you can remove all those things which you have mistakenly understood yourself to be. From where do we start? Where do we start our identification? First, my things. My things. I was here, reading this newspaper 2-3 days ago, and there was a very strange, laughable story I heard that two employees fought over a chair in Gurgaon, and one shot the other guy.
Short the other guy.
You read the news article, then you will realize. Can you imagine for a piece of chair? Forget about body and intellect and all those things. It's not position here. They were sitting, I don't know, they were sharing the chair or whatever. There was a fight. Company tried to resolve it. I'm not naming the company and all those things. That's not required here. The company tried to resolve it. The next day also the fight happened. The company dismissed both of them. They both got removed from the job. Once they got removed from the job, went outside, another guy shot this guy and he's admitted in the hospital. Can you imagine the kind of stories? Where is our identification lying? For a piece of chair, we are ready to kill someone. Can you imagine? That's the state where we have reached. No, this is the example I was giving you. Give the kid, playing gun. This is what will happen. This is what is going to happen because that's the culture they are growing in. Whatever culture. See, mind, when you are born, you are free to create a culture, or you are, free to make it remain it uncultured, or you are also free to make it negatively cultured. That is your choice. God will not stop you at all. He has given freedom. Actually, I'll tell you, the only one who can actually give us freedom is God. The way He runs this world, I tell you, nobody can give us freedom like that. Not even our own people who we live with, they also cannot give us freedom the way God has given us. God has given you absolute freedom. You have a choice to make your life, mar your life, come to me, go negatively down to hell. It's your choice. You create your world. He is given the freedom to create the world. That is the kind of freedom God has given. Sitting inside you means pervaded in this whole world. You are moving within Him. He is sitting within you, but He has never stopped you. But yes, there is an Antaratma which will come and tell you at times, what you did is not right. See, that voice, everybody listens. But He will not stop you. He will keep guiding you. See, that's the kind of freedom God has given. He says, Arjun, Anashina, it cannot be destroyed by anyone. Aprameyasya, you cannot know it also because it is beyond the comprehension of mind and intellect. Intellect is a matter. Intellect is an effect. Remember one more thing I am telling you. An effect can never know its cause. That's why it is aprameyasya. How do you know? You know from intellect only, no? Intellect can only know things which are within the boundary of intellect. The self has got no boundary because it is pervaded everywhere. It's pervaded everything, it's pervaded every point in time. Because it is like that, intellect cannot comprehend it in its fullest form. Since intellect cannot comprehend it in its fullest form, the whole world of spirituality is trying to make you identify those things which you have mistaken you to be and trying to separate you. We use one very popular word in Upanishad, Neti Neti iti Vakyataha. Upanishad ka ek hi kaam hai to tell you, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this, you are not this. Whatever you are not, once you remove it, what is left is yourself. Self is already available to everybody without any boundary, without any difference of caste and creed, without any difference of time. And it is always present in all three periods of time. After Pralay also it will be there. So Arjun, Tasmat, because it is like that, what you do, you stand up and fight. Now this is a point which I left also last time. Some people may misunderstand that Bhagwan is like, Lord Krishna is a warmonger. This is a word which we use very probably. He's telling all of us to fight. Remember, Bhagwan Shankaracharya ji has given a very beautiful definition. This tasmat yudhyasva is not vidhi. Vidhi means Bhagwan is not ruling, saying that it's my order, go and fight. It's not out of order. Anuvada matram. Because this world is like this, you stand up and do your duty. What is Arjun's duty here? He has come for a war. So his duty is war. So that's why Bhagwan used the word yudhyasva here. If it would have been somebody else, Bhagwan would have told him to do that duty. It's not an instruction that, since self is non-destructible, go and kill everyone. That's not what he meant. He meant, Arjun, because the self is of this nature, you are bound to do your duty. Just stand up and do your duty. यहाँ मतलब है तस्मात् कर्मसु. You do just your own duty and move on. Gurudev used to use one word. Many people look for relaxation after their work. After their work, right? Gurudev used one word, Puja Swami Chinmayanand ji. He says, the best one is that who can find relaxation in their work. Means what? Whatever you do, let your mind be relaxed. Remember, there are a couple of things which will happen with the relaxed mind. Your productivity will increase, number one, which is very important. And I use that in corporate many times. Your productivity will increase because you have a relaxed mind. Your comprehension power will go up. You will be able to comprehend things much better. Third thing is that you will not end up reactively running after situation. You will be able to manage yourself. Those three things,
Also decision making.
Yeah, definitely. Because your clear mind, relaxed mind will be able to very clear in making decision. So that's what Bhagwan is talking about. Tasmat yudhyasva. Stand up and fight. Malab, stand up and do your duty. With this, I'll come to next shloka, but I'll take it in the next session. Bhagwan now moves on. Now, next 2 shlokas, which Bhagwan is going to take, is Bhagwan has taken it from an Upanishad called Katha Upanishad. Katha Upanishad is an Upanishad amongst the many Upanishads which are available. Katha Upanishad is an Upanishad. I told you about that. It's a conversation between Nachiketa, a 5-year-old child, and Mrityu Devta. So Bhagwan has taken the shloka from there with minor tweakings. But the most of the line of the shloka is the same. So the first is, I will only read the shloka, I'll explain it in the next session. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitah nayam hanti na hanyate. Ya enam veti hantaram yaschainam manyate hatam ubhau tau na vijanitah nayam hanti na hanyate. I'll pick up only one word to explain in this one. He says, Ubhau tau na vijanita. Both of them don't know, they are completely ignorant. Who are the both of them? That we will see in the next class. Kayena vacha manasendriyairva buddhyatmana va prakrite svabhavat karomi adyat sakalam parasmai narayanaeti samarpayami श्रीमन्नारायणायेति समर्पयामि. ओम पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ओम शांति शांति शांतिः. हरिः ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः. हरिः ओम तत्सत्.